Just Enough Heshy show. I can barely hear myself, but that's okay. It's beautiful. I want you all to know we had a great week. We have not a great week. Well, we have both weeks. But at first, I'm going to introduce my wonderful co-host, Boomy. Hello, how are you?
Good evening, Heshy. I can't say I'm in the greatest of moods. However, let your heart not be troubled. Things will get better again.
We will talk about your heart, but welcome back. We missed you last week in the show.
It's only a 1 hour show.
I know. We missed you last week on the show, Boomy. I had to deal with Sawyer alone. It was terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got that to you. But you know, my mother is in recovery now. She had a hip replacement.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Sawyer, how are you, Sawyer?
Hi, everybody. Great to be here. Great to be here.
Wonderful. I was joking about that. So your hair looks great. You look wonderful. And we're ready to go to show. But tonight, we have a special guest host. I don't know if he sees me. I'm waving to him, but he doesn't see me. Can you hear me, Christopher? I can't hear a word he just said. Why can't I hear? Christopher, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
You look. Did you hear that voice? Just a beautiful voice. Now I hear an echo in my head.
Resonating voice.
I know.
Heshy, who is Christopher? I haven't introduced yet.
I was going to get to that, but the echo is so bad in my head, I don't know what I'm saying. Hi, Christopher. Anyway,
hello.
Christopher Messina is from the Messy Times. That's his show, his podcast. Forget about that. This guy is just a genius. He knows everything. He's smarter than me, which is not too many people out there. You know that, Christopher. Not too many people are smarter than me. Hello, Christopher. Say hello to my people.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
We love you, Christopher, but Christopher forget that he's a genius in marketing, a genius in financial. He's just a smart man. I was on his show, and the man had a problem. You know what your problem was, Christopher?
What's my problem?
You just let me talk for a half hour, and you just let the crazy man go, which I was shocked.
Well, that's the way to get good material, right? Economy of effort. Ask a question and sit back. I actually walked away for 20 minutes of our taping. You never noticed.
I love you. He just made fun of me, Bunny.
Listen, that's the usual thing. But Christopher, I want to ask you something.
Sure.
You with me?
He's with you.
Yeah, I am.
Christopher, please tell me so I don't have to shut the show down now. You're not a lib.
Christopher is a native New Yorker. Plus, you know what makes him so great? Listen to this. He hates Deblasio and Cuomo as well.
God bless you, Christopher. You're one of our people.
You are. I'm going down. His son is getting bar mitzvah this Saturday, so mazel tov to you.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
We're going to talk to you in a minute, Christopher. We got to pay for the show real quickly. And why do we have to pay for the show? Because this guy at High Tech Web Group, he sets this all up, these cameras. It's not like you're such a smart guy, you do it all yourself. We have a whole tech system, even though Christopher has people. High Tech Web Group, 212-235-2777, 212-235-2777, info at Hightech, HITECHWEBGROUP group. What? G-R-O-U-P, didn't I say that? .com. Jaime, he's just a great guy. Do it with him. He's wonderful. 212-235-2777. I love this guy. He set up our show. He knows how to run your show. Guys, deal with him, call him. This guy is just out of this world. Matter of fact, he's helped me start to make money on YouTube. You know that, Christopher?
That's excellent.
Yes, I made a whole $6.91 this week. Anyways, let's go, Sawyer. Who do we have next?
You did high tech, no? You do high tech.
Right, so you got to do TT. Wow, she doesn't pay attention to the show.
Well, start.
I did already. I finished high tech.
No, you didn't.
I think we're up to Tehillah now. TT Styles, remember Tehillah?
TT Styles.
You see, Christopher, we're not organized.
You know what? Okay.
I'm already
TT Styles. Here, wigs, makeups, weddings, events, and all affairs. She will do you up to a T. You can reach Tehillah at TEETEESTYLES.com, or you can go to her Instagram and check out her beautiful photos of all her work at Tehillah, Tehila, at TEETEESTYLES1, or you can reach her at 516-362-6484. You can call her up for an appointment for your makeup, for any event that you have. and
She's
she will do
wonderful.
you
By
up
the
to a
way,
T.
by the way, she's my daughter-in-law, Tehila Tishler. That's why I really push her hard,
Yeah.
and she doesn't pay for the commercial. Anyways,
So I
Green
get
Line-
yelled at.
I know. Green Line Building Solutions, located at 202 Foster Avenue, 718-871-0382. What do they
Housing
do?
Preservation and Development, Fire Department, Criminal Court, Department of Finance, Environmental Control Board settlements, building consulting, violation removals, construction management, owner compliance, contracting, license department of building expediters and designs. I saw customers by you this week, Heshy. Wow, you know how to finagle deals.
Not
and
finagle, but I help
not
people.
only,
We
no,
have
no.
Community, you know, Christopher, not only do we do community constituent services, I help people for free. I teach them. I even tell them, don't do business with me. Go somewhere else. Or I show them how to do the shortcuts.
You had somebody from a yeshiva today. They from yesterday. They were so happy they left your office. I saw they came in. They had like really serious problems.
That's what we do at Green Line,
Unbelievable.
718-871-0382. I'm retiring.
202 Foster Avenue.
I'm retiring in 1 month and 13
No,
days.
he's not.
I know, but I'm going to be running for office, Christopher, as city councilman. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to cry to you. Who do we have next on the list?
Cooks Power, a family-owned and operated company serving the Brooklyn community and local areas, committed to quality and superior customer service. They specialize in residential and commercial lighting installation and repairs, as well as wiring or rewiring of your home or business. Check out their website, www.cookspowernyc.com. Or you can call Cooks Power at 347-794-8236. That's
It's very serious to deal electrical stuff in New York City. There was another fire. 347-794-8236. Cooks Power, KUGSPOWER at gmail.com. Electrical is not a joke. This guy is licensed, insured.
And he works with you.
Right. He's a
It's
very
amazing.
good guy. Guys, it's dangerous. I'm scared of electric. And
Call
next,
Cooks Power and live a happy life.
James Meadows, my favorite ticket guy. I get a lot of tickets,
A
Christopher.
highly ranked traffic lawyer, former criminal lawyer, dedicated to all moving violations throughout New York State. James handles all points-related moving violations in New York City, Long Island, and upstate New York. Speeding, red lights, cell phone, stop sign failure, whatever you do, he can get you out of it. Improper turn or traffic offenses with stiff penalties, including huge fines, points, increased insurance rates, suspension of your driver's license.
Stop. He's just great.
And even being
What's
arrested,
his phone number?
you can reach James Meadows at 845-TICK-ETS. That's 845-TICK-ETS. Now, Heshy's going to correct me and say the number. Go ahead.
845-842-5387, in case you don't know what tickets means. 845-842-5387. I love James. James, they adjourned my case again. Thank you so much. Save my butt behind. Who's next on our list?
Plaza
Wonderful soul.
Auto Leasings. You need to become a PAL. Plaza Auto Leasing,
By the
located
way,
at 2750.
Christopher, Plaza Auto Leasing is PAL, P-A-L, just for your knowledge, in case you
Heshy
didn't know.
figured that out.
Right.
2750 Nostrand Avenue. You can go to their website and see what cars they have available. They have used, they have
Electric.
they have electric, they have, you
Where
can
they
finance, you
located?
can
Where
lease.
they
I
located?
just said that already
Again.
twice, and you interrupted the first.
2750
2750 Nostrand Avenue. They're not only a leasing company, but also a dealership. You get the best of both worlds, the
Phone
flexibility
number.
to lease or
Phone
buy.
number.
You can reach Plaza Auto Leasing today at 718-975-9000. That's 718-975-9000. And
718-975-9000. Tell him Uncle Heshy sent you. I promise
and
you'll be
become a
with it.
pal today.
Boomy, you know that I'm going to Florida next week, and I wanted to, I'm broke. Linda takes all my money, Christopher. So I asked Christopher to take me out to a dinner. He said no. Yeah. Who's on our list next? Who's sending me to Florida that Christopher can buy me
Of course, none other than Traveler's Choice, your only choice for travel. For everything that you need with your travel, all you have to do is make one phone call rather than go on the internet and then reserve your car and go look for searching for a great deal on your flight and your hotel and everything else. All you do is make one single phone call to Traveler's Choice. They get you the best deals on car rental, hotel stays, travel, flights everywhere, national, international, and that's all you have to do. So call Traveler's Choice at Heshy. What's the number?
212-868-8698. 212-868-8698. And it's your
only choice for travel.
And he helped me out. I want you to know, guys, our call-in number tonight to speak to Christopher a little later on is 718-289-0070. Call into the show.
718-289-0070.
By the way, there is some kind of thing that they put on front of my computer, so if you want to send a question through YouTube, it'll pop up. I guess so, and I'm supposed to reply to it. I don't know. Oh, somebody answered. Wow, sounds extremely low. I think the sound is better now. I don't know. Who cares? But ask any questions you want, guys, and I will be able to see it now live for the first time.
As you can see, your comments matter to Heshy.
By the way, so this is what it is, 718-289-0070. And we're going to talk to Christopher, who's just a wonderful man. I mean, this guy's out of the world. But Christopher, before we start the show, we have a joke and quote. We do a shout-out. My shout-out is to my granddaughter, Mira Nava, and my new granddaughter, Layla Tamar.
Layla Tamar.
Lila Tamar.
Lila.
Peter.
I love that
and
name.
Sergeant Peter at the
Sergeant Peters.
And most importantly, who's retiring, my wonderful Chief Shows, who retired, and he's just a great guy. After all these years of service, he always helped the community, and I respected him very much.
And don't forget my weekly shout out to my dear friend, the Honorable Dove Heiken,
Wonderful.
who's always staying on top of things. And I want to give a special refuah shalema to feel better. I understand my dear friend Douglas Jablon, head of Maimonides Hospital, hasn't been feeling well the last couple of weeks.
I need his
and
help.
I wish him a speedy recovery.
By the way, everybody, don't forget HeshyTishler.com, HeshyTishler.com. I'm going to complain to Christopher about something that he's going to freak out. They put in the campaign finance board that I only raised $3,000. I raised $38,000, gave back $5,000 that we felt wasn't good, all by small donations. Nothing big like the other guys. Didn't give for my family funds or whatever. They wrote only 3 of them. I posted they're going to be posting on the list 311 donations of 510. I mean, we raised it hard way, and these Hamadia, just a stupid fake news people just trying to play me out, and I don't really care because I'm not taking a salary, but I want you guys to donate. Now, not only do I want 300, I want 1,311 donations. HeshyTishler.com. We're going to go over
I've got a whole big fat list over here.
I'm hoping they post it on through the show.
Pages
Anyways,
worth.
we're going to start the show, but I want to do a quick quote. And I made this quote for my friend Christopher that I did a little research on. And this is what Christopher does. This is a constructive life, a useful life, good works, good relationships is the core of who we are. This should be our satisfaction and good enough reason for living. To be a decent human being that people like and feel better for knowing you and knowing yourself is enough. I met Christopher recently. Christopher, you are a wonderful human being. You are the man that people should look up to. The things you've done, the things you do, your life is productive. This is who people should look at. I love you, Christopher. I've done a lot of, I've started to get to know you. I'm so proud of you. And your life is somebody that people should follow and continue. It's over yet. Mine might be.
God willing.
Plus, you're a dumbo. You have a 13-year-old kid. You're dead.
I will say, Christopher, you have a fantastically impressive bio. So as we get curriculum vitae in
We're starting the show in a minute, but
Yes.
I got to tell you my joke. Can I tell you my joke, Christopher?
Wait, let's hear the joke.
You're not going to laugh. I don't care. But anyways, here it goes. When I was in graduating rabbinical school, it was my last year, so we had a Rabbi Schreiber. He stood before our class. It was about 20 of us graduating, and he was ready to hand out the final exam. And he gets up and he said, I want you to know it was a pleasure teaching you this semester. I know you've all worked extremely hard, and you're off to various new jobs and higher education and graduate school. So here is the thing. He says, no one gets their GPA messed up, but I want you to know this is your final exam, and it might be a little bit too much for you guys. So here it is. Anybody who wants to opt out of the final exam today gets automatically a B. You hear this? Wow. So there was a lot of screaming and hoopla, and about half the class walked out.
Because they normally get a D.
I was sitting there and I just couldn't believe it that this was happening, and I was ready to pick my God built up for a C, forget a B. So all of a sudden, professor gets up. He says, "Anyone else want to walk out of the class with a B?" One more guy, my friend over there, Shimon. He picked himself up and he left. After the door closed, the rabbi said to me, "I'm glad that the rest of you believe in yourselves. The rest of you get A's. Go out." I know it's not funny. Whatever. I thought it was funny.
I think it's nice, but not funny.
Well, it was funny because those idiots walked that way. Okay, you're not a funny guy. Anyways, let's start our show.
My sense of humor leaves something to be desired, and not
Christopher-
according to Sawyer. At least.
Okay, well, I thought it was a funny joke, whatever. Anyways, Christopher, here's the deal. You're ex-New Yorker. I still believe you're a New Yorker.
I'm a New Yorker through and through. They can't change that.
And I want to talk to you a few topics, which you're going to be able to talk whatever you want. I want you to ask you two things. Number one, you understand we have a new president today, Biden. Everybody told me we're going to have a civil war. We're going to blow up the cities, capitals, millions and millions of dollars worth to protect Governor Cuomo, who I believe wasn't even invited to the inauguration, said he was here to protect our city. That idiot. He can't do nothing. Mayor Deblasio, who goes to the gym when nobody else can go to the gym because he needs to be healthy.
He needs to be healthy for us, so he could do nothing for us.
He actually got up in a news conference, says he goes to the gym.
Doing nothing is hard.
Right. He's just a loser. So I'm just telling you, we're lost all the vote, even though we have our weddings running and so on. But what bothers me the most right now, and that kills us, forget the homeless, which I want to bring up with you, that are we going to have a better world? Are we going to be safe? Is Biden, he signs 3 executive orders that everybody has to wear masks in federal places, and it's going to stretch. It's going to go to all of us and the people. Christopher, you're an educated, smart man of the world. I mean, we're from Brooklyn, New York, so we're lost. Does this, number one, does this affect us? Number two, tell us, are we in trouble? Because Boomy is sad. Boomy's in trouble. I swear to you, he is depressed. And I talk to him all the time. Are we lost? Is my money going to be affected? Are we going to get better? Tell us, Christopher, because you are the guy that knows it. You tell me what you think.
Wow. Well, thank you. That's a lot of pressure on the first question, and I'm delighted to be on the show. Pleasure to meet you all.
By the way, Christopher has a co-host, James. Is that his name?
Yes. James Langer is my co-host.
James is not as good looking as you. Don't worry about it. Go ahead. Tell me what you think is happening.
Another one for me.
Well, I tell you, I tuned in this afternoon because I wanted to hear Amanda Gorman read her speech, her poem. She did a great job, and the price of entry to hear Amanda's poem was to watch Biden give his little chat. Look, I've got high hopes because Biden is our president. I think there's a lot that needs to be fixed. I think all of us.
Do we accept him?
Of course, we accept him.
We don't accept him. We don't have a choice.
No.
Well,
he's your president.
but I think this is a constructive way to look at things. I think if Joe Biden, to cap a parasitic career of 47 years in D.C., having improved nothing, if he can switch gears, and believe me, I suggest all of your listeners pray as hard as I do nightly for the good health of a 78-year-old man I've never met, that he makes it at least another 48 months. I don't particularly care what happens after that because he'll be voted out. But for the duration, we desperately want President Biden and not President Harris. So with President Biden sitting there in charge, I wish him all the best. He makes a lot of noise about unification, but the proof is in the pudding. If he really wants to show the 74 million Americans that voted for Donald Trump that, in fact, this is a time to bring the country together and get past a lot of the hysteria that the left manufactured themselves to get Orange Man out of office.
Christopher.
I want to ask Christopher a question. So then, why is he allowing your Congress to impeach?
That was my next statement. He should take Pelosi aside tomorrow and say, "This is insanity. Take back these impeachment articles. The first one was a joke. This one's even dumber. You're going to do nothing but inflame passions. If your desire is to look for increasing divisiveness and increasing partisan anger, then go ahead with this nonsense."
Will that happen?
I hope it doesn't. I mean, it's up to them at this point. If the left had half a brain, rather than acting like complete vindictive morons who are still stoking fires of hatred, if they act gracious in victory and truly look, Abraham Lincoln gave a talk towards the end of the Civil War when hundreds of thousands of people had been killed and maimed and lives were destroyed. And he suggested that the nation bind up its wounds, forgive everyone, hug, and get back to governing. If the left doesn't admit basic things, which everyone can see, which is we watched a summer of leftist maniacs cause billions of dollars in damage and murder in our streets.
Right.
And the media, starting with Communist News Network, called it mostly peaceful protest. And we're supposed to believe a bunch of people who got irritated and walked into the Capitol is quote unquote a coup. If they continue down this line of insanity,
Insurgency.
So I have a
it's
question.
going to get worse.
Christopher, if I may.
One question. Somebody asked a question online. Chaim Chaimi, he asked a question. What do you think? Not that Biden. What do you think about Biden as our new president? But he also wants to know, in your heart, truthful heart. I know what you just said, that you hope what he does. And all the 47 years, do you believe in your heart that he will mess up, or do you believe he will do the job? Really, because you see the history of presidents that were idiots. Do you think that he will do a real job?
I think that Joe is a Class A swamp creature who will be swayed to do
Christopher,
what?
I agree with you on everything you've said 100%. And in fact, I find it frighteningly portentful, okay, that in addition to speaking about unity, he also basically effectively declared war on 75 million Americans.
Where did he declare war?
During the
Where?
war, he declared war on the United States, on the inner enemy, on the enemy from the inside rather than from the outside. What does that mean? He declared war on what he refers to, or what they leftists refer to as as anybody that has a view that's other than their own. In other words, like, for example, they call us Nazis and they call us white supremacists. All white male men are white supremacists. This is, in a sense, a declaration of war against half of the United 75 plus million people across America. This is frightening portentful again, frighteningly portentful of what this Biden administration and whether or not he really means what he says when he says that he'd like to have unity. Yeah, but what kind of unity, even if he says so? That unity, in other words, he's got to be that unity. And the liberals, they have to be that unity. That's the unity.
Well, I would say you're right. You're absolutely right about kind of the leanings of the American left, because in true Marxist fashion, when you eschew religion and your religion becomes the state, then you fight fiercely for it. This is the main problem, which the left is never going to understand, because committed secular statists really don't understand religious people. They just don't get it. And they somehow find it dangerous. When Obama slipped up, right, his most telling comments were when he slipped up. When he said, we're going to spread the wealth around, or people are clinging to guns and religion, right?
Socialism.
So Biden, I think Biden believes nothing. So in that sense, he's okay. He's surrounded by people who believe things fervently, and they are more worrisome.
Biden is a puppet. Biden at this point is on the early stages of dementia, and I do not believe.
Hold on, Christopher. Is
Yep.
Biden a puppet?
At this point, I don't think so. I think he could well decline further and become particularly useless, but he's still got a little fight in him. He's still, on the whole, and this, on the whole, I know some Democrats, some of my family too, so I'm a forgiving sort. On the whole, I think Biden himself actually means well, and I think he really thinks that a lot of the hysterical screaming about Donald Trump was accurate. We all know that it wasn't. But the other major headache, which I find so painful, having done some work with this administration and seen internally the great work and the great people that worked in the Trump administration, we have to accept the fact as well on the right that Donald lost this for himself. Right? If he'd handed over his Twitter account on day one of his inauguration and just pursued the policies he pursued, he would have been reelected with a resounding majority. But he irritated too many people.
I want to talk about something, but before we get off, and you're an author of a book, by the way. He is one book, many books. Isn't that true, Chris?
The second one is coming out shortly. It's called Messina's Federal Budget.
I want you to talk about this, because I hope you put this in your book. I know you're going to be angry, all of you out there, and somebody just asked a question, and you spoke about Mr. Biden's team around him. You will know that, and Booby's going to really get you on this one. Mr. Biden, President Biden, I'm sorry, he now put, who did he do? What did he do? He put somebody in the cabinet a transgender. Now, please don't get me wrong. I don't mind well, I do mind transgender. This is crazy. But he put a transgender, in the health?
The problem is that we
what's the
don't
title
know
of this?
exactly.
What's the title? What's this man?
She's the Undersecretary of Health in some way.
Transgender health that most likely is depressed, will kill herself. She's now switching from man to woman. She doesn't know which bathroom to go to. So she's now your health transgender cabinet person. Please explain this to me. Am I lost?
It does not know what it is. It makes this very big problem in the English language.
Are we allowed to do that?
It used to be he.
Wait, Christopher. Are we allowed to call it?
I'm not politically correct.
I would
It used to be he, she,
say,
him, or her.
first
Now it's
off,
it.
luckily, Ms. Levine is not going to be in the cabinet.
Wait. He just called her Miss Levine.
I'm a lost grammatically. I don't know how to refer to anybody anymore, including
She is
myself.
Ms. Levine, and she's the Undersecretary of Health, so she will not actually be in the cabinet, so that's good news.
Christopher, if she is Miss Levine, then I am Miss Hoshander, and I am an
Well,
African American woman.
And
You know
sir,
why?
you are
Because-
welcome to be
Wait a
that.
minute, I am an African American woman in this crazy
That's how
world.
he identifies.
I identify myself as such, and so I am such, and I'd be very offended if anybody calls me in any other way.
I like food. I identify as a refrigerator.
Yeah.
My wife told me a joke she saw posted saying that she saw a woman who said, I'm self-identifying as a microwave meal because I'm easy, I'm fast, and I'm satisfying if you're desperate. So,
Can I ask you a question, Chris, before you go on?
I have a question.
You're going to ask a question.
but I want to answer the question about Miss
Trump
Levine.
left.
I think
You're
it's a
gonna
rather
answer
important
both.
one.
Trump left with a lot of pardons. Do you agree?
Who are you asking that?
You.
With the amount of pardons that he had left with, it's still less than any other president.
I don't. I'm not. You know,
Less pardons.
the pardon power is fascinating. It was created in a period of history where the only federal crimes were basically treason and stealing the governor's horse. So if Trump in his waning days decided to pardon lots and lots of people, I have no opinion one way or the other. Quite frankly, our jails are overburdened. I'm far more concerned by the idea that the FBI is going around in true J. Edgar Hoover style, rounding up everyone that they can identify who was in Washington on the 6th, and they're threatening them with like 25 years in jail. So that's a great use of taxpayer resources. Lock someone up who was politically protesting. Now, if we want to punish people who broke into the Capitol and caused damage, fine, make them break rocks for roads for a month. That'll teach them a lesson. But the idea that we're going to put people in jail is insane.
He's coming after them as well. Like really good
Sorry?
politicians. Like, what's his name?
Well, they're calling it a conspiracy, obviously.
Of course they are. It's insane. And they're going to try this for a while. But cooler heads are going to prevail because it's nonsense. It's patent nonsense. I mean, as James and I did on our show, and then after Heshy came on as well, if you watch the bulk of the video from inside the Capitol building on the day, these people were wandering around taking selfies. This was not a coordinated attack and a coup.
And
No, at all. It was ridiculous. It was a shame.
He never said verbally for anybody. He used the word peaceful. And if he had said something, it would be replayed over and over and over ad nauseum on media, which they're not
But with all
playing
due
because they don't have
respect,
anything, because he never said anything.
you're just feeding their vitriol by arguing their points. They have no points. Ignore it. It doesn't matter. It's absolutely ridiculous.
As you know, I'm running for city councilman. First of all, what is your feeling about that? I don't know if you checked me out. You know, the mayor arrested me. You know that.
Yes, which to me, if Deblasio arrests you, that just upped your standing in my eyes a million times. So the city council desperately needs you, needs your presence, needs your voice, needs logical people. God, it's painful to me as a longtime New Yorker, multiple generation New Yorker. It was painful to me. I grew up there. My grandfather negotiated all of the firemen's pensions with Mayor LaGuardia. I grew up hearing about the importance of the city, the importance of the infrastructure. And then, on election night, the first night, when 12% of people bothered to go vote, and they voted this idiot Deblasio in, my wife and I looked at each other and said, we're done. Like, I'm not going to be here to be taxed more than anyone else in the country and not thanked for it, told, in fact, I should pay more
I have
for
a question
Deblasio's
for you.
deadbeats people.
I don't know if it's something that you would know about. But was there something in the federal government before the coronavirus started? I was reading something about they were proposing teaching the Quran in public schools. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, look, like there are always the Department of Education,
was it a federal government proposal?
But here's the context, and I can't wait for you to read my book and give me harsh criticism.
Tell us what's the book's title. You got to tell us something.
It's because I decided I went through many titles, and I decided to go with the most humble title I could, which is Messina's federal budget. So I'm just laying it on the line. There's no excuses. My budget.
What is the book about?
The book is about line by line. See, the main premise is that the federal Leviathan and state government, city government, they depend upon complexity to hide what they're doing from the people. They don't make it simple. They shroud it in strange words. They write bills in 17,000 pages that you could write on a piece of paper. They do it deliberately because what they're counting on is even when people get irritated, even when the four of us find out about a law we don't like or a rule we don't like, and we get all agitated about it, and we write to our congressman, and then we go on a show, we tell our listeners about it. They're hoping that most of that's just going to peter out. It's not going to go anywhere, and it's going to keep trundling along, raising taxes, taking more control.
So, Christopher, because it seems that most of these senators and congressmen who propose and then review these bills, they don't even read these bills at all.
Thank you. You can go to chapter 26 of my book, which is a constitutional amendment, which demands that all legislative work be done by the elected officials, not their eager beaver interns, not the staffers. There can be no more deferment to the administrative state, which is what they've been doing for 30 years by saying, I'm going to pass a law that says...
So is there some truth to what I said?
Well, in terms of that proposal that came out of the Department of Education.
I want to know how outraged people,
they're just sitting at home. In my opinion, they shouldn't be outraged.
So one second, the government took out, in school where children were growing up in the public school, which is funded by everybody, taxpayer dollar, federal, city, state. Funding, they took out I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. You cannot say that anymore. You can't lift your hand. You can't
not here in Florida, not in a free state.
This country, what belongs to this country, you took that out. You took out you can't have Judaism, Catholicism, you can't have anything.
Okay, we're going to go to the next subject.
Excuse me, hold on.
I got you. The Bible,
but you're going to teach us from, 9/11, people that came into this country, Muslim law, you're going to teach us Sharia law, you're going to teach us the Quran, you're going to teach us another religion.
Hello.
But my religion, I can't learn in school. My children can't learn, but you're going to teach us another religion.
Anyways.
They weren't teaching another religion.
We're going to pay you to brainwash our children.
If you're asking me about the particular Department of Education edict, the idea was to potentially foster great understanding that certain sections of the Quran would be taught as world literature and as comparative political science. That was the idea.
And there's another thing they're putting. They're putting now that for children, for story time, that a drag queen. Why does my child have to know what a drag queen is?
Okay, we're going to get some real topics here. I want to tell you
this is a real topic. Heshy, this is a real topic.
Okay,
the children are supposedly our future. And if you're going to teach my child, CRAP, okay? Then I have a right to fight it if I'm paying tax dollars.
I want to talk to Chris about something else. In New York City, and first of all, they're telling me now that if I don't drop the transgender screaming at or about the gays and lesbians, I'm never going to win election. Hey, who cares? Are you crazy? No transgender is sitting in my administration, in my office, and if a lesbian wants to work for me, the answer is
Heshy,
no.
You first of all, you're going to have people working in your administration based on their...
It doesn't, woman, according to Clinton, what is the thing? Don't tell, something.
Don't ask, don't tell.
That's don't tell.
The military,
so I'm not gonna
but I gotta say that the best quote ever goes to federal judge Naomi Rao, who was somewhat the identity politician's left's greatest nightmare, because she came up for federal judgeship, and one would wonder why the first generation Indian daughter of immigrants would be opposed by the left. And the reason is because she had come to rather rational Republican conservative legal views, and they were terrified that someone that they claimed because of their identity politics preoccupation should believe one thing, believe something else. They were horrified. And so when Cory Booker tried to ask her during the Senate hearing, said to her, do you have any gay or transgender or LGBTQ staff? She looked at him and said, I don't know. It's illegal to ask under federal employment law.
Good answer.
Good answer.
And that's long before there was a Nikki Haley around to show us.
I'm gonna tell all my audience, we're gonna get to a rule called A146, run by Nick Perry. He says that if you have, or he thinks, or the government thinks that you are sick with corona or some nature of that, we are gonna come into your house. We're going to take you out and put you into a detention center. I'm going to stop that law, everybody. Just don't get it out of your head. It's in the state assembly. I promise you, if I have to run them over, which God forbid I don't condone violence.
And what about teaching Sharia law to our children?
I got you, but right now they're going to take you out of your home and put you in a detention center if they think you're sick. Are you crazy in your head? We're going to talk about that. But also, now that Biden is president of the United States, that's it. No more BLM protests, right? How come last night or 2 nights ago I drove into the city and BLM protesters were marching? I followed them. I couldn't keep up with them. They were running so quickly. They were upset that I was out of breath. The reason I was out of breath is because they have nothing to say. So the only person who had to speak was me. So that's why I was out of breath.
Well, that remains to be seen, Heshy. Maybe that was last night, just before the actual inauguration. Maybe there won't be any more BLM or Antifa terrorist activity under the Biden administration.
I was arrested.
I wouldn't bet on it, but it may be.
I was arrested for screaming at somebody. These BLM people, 28 of them that were arrested for throwing rocks at the cops, for hitting them and punching them, you know what happened to them? They were all let out on desk appearance tickets when they kept me in jail for 24 hours. Guys, help me. Help me, help me, help me.
So what's the thought? Are these protests going to continue? The good news is for all of us who like the theater is that yes, they will, because they're the extreme left, and now this is Biden and Harris's problem. That's what's so delightful about this, right? They spent 3 years attacking the ICE building in Portland, Oregon, like long before the summer of insanity of 2020, right? They've been attacking federal buildings for years in Portlandia, and the governor there and the mayor have done absolutely nothing. And in Seattle, we've seen it. They have reaped the whirlwind everywhere. In New York, you'll notice, I would just say for your listeners and for you guys, that if you overlay a map of this country with states that have strong personal Second Amendment protections, and then overlay a map of where these riots happen, you'll notice these riots don't happen in states where everybody is armed. They only do this crap in cities where they've been disarmed. They only do this. They don't come do this in Florida. They tried it once in the summer when it started in one of the largest cities. They tried a little rally. They were outnumbered about 400 to 1 by solid citizens who stood there quietly, and the sheriff's department showed up and it dissipated, and that was it. None of it happened anymore after that. It only happens in tolerant states run by Democrat governors and mayors who let this crap go on.
I'm going to talk about 2 more subjects. One, the homeless, that everybody's screaming about me, because if I pick the side of homeless people should come into my community, I'm just telling you, we have a problem coming into my community. It's a local issue here, and if I say I'm against it, they're screaming at me, oh, they won't get me elected. If they say I'm for it, people are going to scream at me. So I do have an opinion. I do want to speak about it. But here's my main question, because I do have some money. Not me. Linda has money. I have no money. Linda, you know, she's a rich woman. She lets me sit in the studio. Anyways, is the markets going to collapse? Are the markets going to do better? Are we going to be profitable? What is your opinion on the next 4 years? I mean, Trump took our stock market and improved it by 1/3. Made a lot of people wealthy. Yes, the richer got super rich, but people who are smart invested properly. But you know, if the markets collapse, we're all dead. Is that going to happen? What do you think is your opinion on that? Because you're a financial whiz.
Oh, good heavens. Predicting stock prices is like predicting the flight of a hummingbird.
The economy collapse.
No, I see a far greater danger in the fact that most of the sort of the illusory stock market gains in the last 12 years since quantitative easing started has been mainly because of funny money. The Fed shows up to buy treasury auctions and creates a huge money supply, and that has been driving gains in the stock market more than anything else. So the fundamentals haven't really changed. I mean, as contrarians or fundamental investors would say, you know, if the Dow is at 32,000 and I like I like the fundamental businesses of the 30 companies that make up the Dow Jones 30 industrial index. If the market collapses and the prices of those stocks drop 40% tomorrow, I'm delighted because I can buy the exact same company for 40% cheaper than I did the day before.
Wow.
So
you believe in the markets and you believe America is going to go strong.
Oh, I think America's in deep trouble. We're about $100 trillion in debt when you add up the unfunded liabilities. And right now, if they keep on with this money printing, we're going to be spending $50,000 for a loaf of bread and we're all screwed. No, we're in deep trouble.
No.
We're in seriously deep trouble.
Linda gives me only $300 for the week.
Leave it to the Democratic liberals to arrange it in such a way that when your person is born in the United States, they are born with a debt of $150,000 just to start with.
Oh, this is bipartisan sport. Let's be fair. These idiots have been racking this up.
They've done it, but okay.
They've been racking this up since the 50s. This is never ending because they can't cut spending, and they have to cut spending, and they can't. None of them have proven able to do it. And luckily, what I provided in my book is not just a way of cutting through the nonsense, but here on a 3x5 note card is what you should tell your senator and congressman you want them to do, or you're voting them out next time.
Really?
None of this.
Our congressman, what's his name again? Nadler,
Jerry
the little
Nadler.
fat little.
Oh, I remember Nadler.
what
He's
a
awful.
loser. So you can't even speak to him. And our Senator Schumer, God help us, please.
People
God,
have to
help
wake
us. I
up.
don't wanna
How
say
New York,
anything
how
about
New
him,
York State went from being truly the Empire State. But when these idiots are done, there are going to be 50 million welfare recipients and 3 billionaires who couldn't bother to move. What on earth they think they're going to do? It's more and more productive
Chris,
people
have you
leave.
ever considered running for office?
God, no, my wife will let me. She made me promise when we got engaged that if I ran for office, she'd leave me.
Yeah, Linda doesn't want me to run, but I told her that I'm not taking a salary. I see her now walking around with a knife ready to cut my throat. So I'm in big trouble.
You should run. You'd be great at city
I
council.
am running. I promise you I'm going in. I'm going to take 26 hours. Now, I have a question for you. I want everybody to know in my neighborhood, and I want you to hear this, Christopher. Our neighborhood has been fighting, not only mine, Borough Park, Flatbush, Midwood, and a lot of good communities, Bushwick, neighborhoods that have taken themselves out of the dregs of nowhere, building their houses, getting people with better homes, cleaner. The quality of life is getting better. I work as an HBD receiver, and I've been working with other landlords, teaching them how to make their tenants live better, even though idiot Deblasio is telling people not to pay rents, but people are paying rents. People are trying to stay above water, not everybody. And now we have a community here in Borough Park for the last 31 years that I own a house here and living here over 40 years. We've built this community from nothing, and our homes are worth better. Our children, we have synagogues, schools. They want to bring the homeless people here. So we had a problem now in a stand-up thing. I hope they post a sign that a couple of landlords have taken 8 homes and they want to make it into homeless shelters. So I want to clear it up, everybody. I spoke with, it's going before our community board that will be voting on it. And I spoke to the landlords and management agents. I sat down with one of our other community leaders and another person in the room, and we spoke to the landlords. We said, really, are you going to bring homeless shelters into our neighborhood? So I want everybody to know I'm not deciding or picking a side, but I sat with them and they told me as follows. We're not going to give you a homeless shelter. What we're doing is we're taking something, we're giving 70% of these buildings that we've renovated. I'm just giving everybody what the idea is. 70% of a building, and I don't know if it's a good idea. Maybe people don't like it. It's in our neighborhood. 70% of the building is going to go out to low income or affordable housing. That means they're going to put it on a lottery, put your name on the list, and they will choose your name. And if you qualify for, your checklist, you're not sexual offender, you're not a murderer, you haven't been to jail on bad crimes, they will approve your application and you're going to get a very nice rental. 70% of it is open to the public. To the public, it's called affordable housing. Okay, you have to make less than $60,000 or $100,000 for like a 3-bedroom or something. So they're giving you a nice apartment to a nice middle income or lower income family. It's not a homeless project. Just everybody to open. It means me, you, whatever. If you qualify.
Sounds like a good thing.
Now, the other 30% is not a shelter. What they're doing is people who were homeless. They were given temporary housing. They were given jobs. They have jobs. They have to have a job. Again, they have to qualify. not being a sexual offender, not being a murderer. They can't discriminate on race or sex or whatever, but they want families. It won't be a homeless man or woman coming in there. Yeah, if they qualify, whatever. But they're going to be given an apartment. They have to pay rent. The government does subsidize it. And they promised, this is their promise to me, that not only will when the government give them these people that have been transitioning to society and they're ready for a real apartment and they've been practicing for a while, they're going to allow two community members to be choosing with them to give a vote. That means if the community members turn them down, they're going to allow them to be turned down. So it's not like we're throwing away the homeless. 30% of it, these are not homeless from the street. These are people that want in temporary housing for a while, have jobs, and they're coming back into society, and the government is going to supplement it. Plus, they promise never, ever to turn these buildings into shelters. That means once these buildings, remember right now these buildings were being used for the hospital's personnel that were, coming and going and whatever it is, not being checked. These people are being checked, being vetted, and once they're in there, they're in there. And it can never be a shelter because once it's low-income housing, you can't just evict people. There are rules in our rent control system. So I want my community here, there are 60 to 80 apartments that are going to be available. They're going to be small apartments, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. I want you guys to consider, I'm just telling you that these are the promises being made, that they will have people of our community as well as their management agent on this board. They will file it in ACRIS, that it's going to be guaranteed that this is the way we're going to choose the people, and the other low-income housing, the other 70% of affordable housing will be put up for a lottery. You can put your names in there, 1 million of you, and you'll be chosen by lottery, and again, you'll be vetted. No homeless shelters will be converted, and it will be filed that it'll never in the future. Now,
do you know why
do you
this is being
consider
done,
these
Heshy?
homeless? Do you consider it? I don't know. I don't know if you consider it homeless. I'm thinking, do you want it in your community? Your $1 million homes are now going to be against these people that you feel are not your people, I believe. I don't know what I believe. Do you want to give them a chance or not? I'm talking about me now.
Is this in 8 buildings?
8 buildings.
So it's not 70 apartments, 80 apartments, or whatever it is. It's 70 times 8.
Well,
560 apartments you're talking about.
No, it's 8 buildings, and they have about 20 or 30 in each building.
Only 20 or 30 in each building?
Yeah, that's it, 20 or 30. They're not major buildings. You're looking, according to them, it was 60, 70 apartments
so 150.
Going to the homeless transition, and the rest is affordable housing. So I'm figuring about 180 units, but again, out of those 180 units, okay, 30% of it is for the homeless. The rest
60 apartments.
60 apartments. The rest are you and me.
Heshy, when this is built and this is constructed and this is all said and done, what do you think this is going to do to the homogeneity of this Hasidic community that's right here? What kind of people do you think are going to be in this? Are they just going to be Hasidic people, Jewish Orthodox people, or we're going to get everything? Wonderful people, perhaps, but we're going to have African Americans, we're going to have Spanish, we're going to have everything. And how is that going to affect the community overall?
See, that's where you're getting me lost. I'm going to get in trouble now, Chris. If I say I only want Jewish people, Heshy's prejudice against the black, Spanish, Muslim,
God forbid.
which I'm not, because I have all of them. Today, one of my kids that lived in our house, a black kid who was with me for 20 years, he's a father, I got him married, and everybody in the office was shocking. He came in, he says, where's my pop? They said, what are you talking about, Heshy? And they said, what are you talking about? Heshy's not your father. He said, sure he is. Heshy's my boy. He took me in. His name is Coyle. He loves me. He's the grandfather of my kids. And they're looking at him. And I said, don't you see he looks like me? So I'm not prejudiced. My point is, like he says, like my boy said, I'm willing to take phone calls right now, people. But my point is these people do need a chance. Every community, you're right, it's a Jewish community, but
I would say it sounds phenomenal.
But do you want them next to you, Christopher?
Christopher, if they came into the community that you were living in, and suddenly there was a mass change in the entire look of your community, and it was if you were an affluent Spanish community someplace, and suddenly they said, well, we're going to build homes that are going to give 250 apartments to families of Orthodox Jews, African Americans.
They do upstate, and they turn us down.
Right there, and then if it gets done, what's going to happen to your community? And I would not suggest that you're racist or biased in any way. How would you feel about that? Would you want that, or would you resist?
I would
these
say
program, these areas,
well,
there's still
here's
enough areas
my
in New York
thought on
City
this.
where these
Here-
housing things can be built in other areas. They don't have to be smack in the middle of homogeneous communities that have been like this for years.
But they're also going to give our people in this community
That's
a chance
true.
to get those buildings as well, get those apartments as well.
That-
So you gotta, if you're taking from them, you gotta give them. I mean, again, I'm not defending the landlords, but what I'm telling them is if they're going to give you, then give them back. But again, it's not my decision, and I don't want to. I'm still swaying.
Well, then
I'm
maybe in a
listening.
way it should be geared to house similar people in similar communities.
Okay.
If you need to mix the communities entirely,
But then
you
you're
ruin
being
the entire
prejudiced.
outlet.
The
No,
government,
this
the
doesn't
government
have to be
says you have to go
prejudicial.
across the. But Christopher, what do you say? You have a beautiful home. You have a beautiful kid being bar mitzvahed. Your wife is with you. Now all of a sudden comes into you not somebody who's transitioned from homeless. Maybe they can deal with it. They might have some mental issues which we don't know about. What do you think?
Sure. I'd say as if the plan is executed as described, and if there are actual criteria that are adhered to, I think it's a delightful plan, and I wouldn't flinch in the slightest. I mean, but again, I may have a different view. I've lived all over the world in a range of different communities, and equally comfortable in a mosque for a church. It doesn't bother me in the
Well, you
slightest.
have to remember, this is a predominantly
that would-
Orthodox Jewish community. It's been like this for years.
Right.
I
It took a long
understand.
time.
I
I'm not talking Orthodox,
completely
super
understand, and I also
Orthodox.
think it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for New York City and for lots of communities to have, as long again, if it's not like the nightmare we've seen on the Upper West Side of
correct.
400 drunk single men, then if it's family vetted and they're moving into a community, your neighbors and people you nod at and smile, or people that you spend every waking hour with. And
See,
if
Christopher,
there's a
I see
happy
you dancing.
medium in there somewhere, it should be fine.
Christopher, you're dancing like I was. I like that. Don't get me wrong, but you're dancing around. The answer is yes.
Oh,
or
I
no.
think I'm not dancing. I'm not dancing at all. The answer is yes. I think the program as described is excellent.
But you know that every
if they
program has a problem.
lie
I think-
and they turn out and
I
what's
can't
that?
put words in Chris's mouth, but I think he probably feels somewhat the way I feel, which is he's saying if these people are upstanding and they're vetted, and not only are they vetted by some sort of a board but also community people that are going to have a final say, and these are upstanding citizens that they're going to contribute to the infrastructure of the community and not deteriorate it and take it down, then these people, even though they
Sure, of
are
course.
not similar exactly to us, they should be somewhat embraced.
We got a lot of phone calls. Let's take a couple of calls. Who's pushing a button? I don't know how to do
Exactly.
it, Christopher. We have a new phone system. Please, somebody pick up a phone. Any call. I hope they know how to do this. Hello, you're on the air with Heshy, Bumi, Soya, and Christopher. Are you there? There was nobody there. Uh-oh. Hello, who is this? Beryl Kleinberger. I can't hear him well, but I guess you guys can you hear him, Christopher?
Not very well.
Not
Could
very
barely
well.
hear him.
We don't know why. What's your question so I can relay it?
My question is, Heshy, do you remember, I don't know if you remember, what happened in Crown Heights when originally there was a white area and everything?
Oh, they hung up on him. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'm going to tell you right now. Somebody asked a question online. Do they plan on doing this everywhere? The answer is no. This was a special project by these landlords and managing agent. They bought these buildings, and they had a plan, a good plan, that they wanted to do good for the community. They wanted to make money, but they felt that they can contribute back by helping.
No, Heshy, that's incorrect. What happened was these landlords saw that as a result of the pandemic and as a result of other factors involved, they could not make the kind of profits they could on an open
I
market.
don't know.
They could
I
not
don't know.
rent out these apartments the way they anticipated.
disagree with
it's
you.
overcrowded. There is not enough. People are not moving in here.
I
They're
got
moving
you.
out.
Do we give them a chance or don't we? Yes
don't
or no?
know.
I don't know.
I'm not
Take
deciding.
another caller. Can you figure out how to use this phone? Hello?
No.
No, he keeps push a button. Come teach them how to do it. We don't know how to use the phones. We're just dumbbells. You see, Christopher, we're not from Florida. We're freezing in the
I
cold.
had somebody on the line before.
Okay, can you teach them push a button? We're on the line. We have somebody on the air now. Hello.
Nobody there.
No, nobody.
Nobody there right this
They
minute.
keep hanging up. We had Christopher. We're just dumbbells here, but it's okay. I'm going to ask a
For
question.
yourself, Hash.
I am a dumbbell. Maybe he's going to push a button. Are we pushing a button? He keeps picking up the finger. I don't know which finger he's picking up. Guys,
Not me, the producer.
Guys, I'm going to tell you something, and Christopher, I'm going to tell you something. When I do get into city council, I have a plan on the homeless. This is a plan that they came up with. It's not a bad plan. It's not a good plan. What I want to do is I want to create buildings, hotels, where I put the people from homeless people, they come there. We're going to give them programs. We're going to have mental health issues. We're going to be able to transfer them to a temporary housing and back into the world and give them jobs. I'm going to build them housing, real housing, not just block them out. I'm not only just going to put them in neighborhoods, but again, if these people do qualify, like you said, but no program is perfect.
Heshy, I think we
can
still
get
have
one
enough
phone,
space.
One phone in. He pushed the button again.
Hello.
Hello.
You're on the air with Heshy, Soya, Bumi, and Christopher. Hello, you're on the air.
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Okay, my question is, like the doctors and the nurses in the hospitals and the ICUs, aren't we faced with the conundrum of how to do no harm by whatever action we may take? Or are we driven to do things? Do we have to do this or that, to support our version of the market ideology, possibly to put people out, maybe help some select few, but nevertheless, and we can find ourselves, except by the grace of God, we'll find
Okay. We can't hear him. But you know what? First of all, Christopher, COVID. What do you think? Are you taking the vaccine? I'm taking the vaccine. I promise you I'm taking the vaccine.
Well, we've got a virus that has a 99.98% survivability rate, and we've got a vaccine with a 95% efficacy rate. I'm a math guy, so to me, I'm utterly indifferent as to whether I take it. I raised a huge scream and a cry back in March of last year,
So did I.
saying that everyone under 65 should go about their lives unless they have a serious immunocompromised condition, and everyone over 65 should be careful, which is the approach we took here in Florida, unlike King Cuomo, who murdered thousands of older people by shoving them back into nursing homes.
How come
So
he's
no,
not prosecuted for murdering all those people?
I know.
He's a murderer.
dear.
When I get to city
Oh,
council,
dear.
somebody's
But
going to answer for it. We're taking a phone call.
Here's my
finally.
prediction.
No, we're not. We're never going to get a phone call, Christopher. Go ahead, Chris.
Here's my quick prediction, and you take this to the bank, that for generations to come, legions of PhD dissertations are going to be written by epidemiologists, historians, psychologists, and the like about the great Wuhan panic of 2020. This is the first time in human history that we have decided, or a bunch of the idiots atop our government have decided to try impoverishment as a path to public health. It is insane. Completely and utterly insane. And we thank God every day that we live in Florida so our children can be in school.
Wow.
It is absolutely nuts that they have took 15 days to slow the spread, which made no sense whatsoever then. And we are now 11 months into these arbitrary dictates that based in no science. And here's one last clue for your readers, and we talk about it a lot on the Messy Time show, that my absolute favorite phrase that has come out of 2020, and I can only say it this way because this is the way I hear it, is I follow the science. When somebody says I follow the science, that person is usually a liberal arts major at best who doesn't understand statistics. I follow the science. So they say it. They may say it. I follow the
I want
science.
to take one call.
But all I hear is I follow the science.
No, oh God. Are we going to get a call in now?
Yes, we
Anybody
do.
on the-
I just pushed the
Actually,
button.
we need a training course.
You're on the
During
air.
week.
Who's on the air with us?
Yes, hi, it's Mayor Deblasio.
Hang up the phone, Bell. We can't hear you. I want to ask. Okay, I don't care what you hear him. They don't know how to use the phones. These are two. This is a lawyer and my assistant who's going to be running my office. I'm in big trouble.
If you throw what you've been throwing at Boomy at me tonight, it's gonna come back at you twice as
My
hard.
question is before we end the show. First of all, where is the Messy Times? How do we watch it? How do we listen to your show?
Oh, it's really basic. You go to messytimes.show on the interwebs, and it'll take you there. You can Google around. We're advertising on Instagram and YouTube and the rest of it. We're on, I think, 11 different podcasting platforms. So my old friend of mine, we actually met on our day one of our first year of University of Chicago as incoming freshmen. And he too does a lot of work in the financial sector. And he came up with a great idea last year after hearing me do an interview on a.
Well, you got no more time. We're running out of the show. I want to say thank you to you, Christopher. Thank you, my co-host. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, my son.
Thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you, guys.
You're amazing.
Yeah, we don't know how to run our telephones. Come back next week. I swear I'm going to run the show better. Christopher, I'm coming down to Florida. You better buy me a steak.
I, too, am looking forward to meeting you in person, Christopher,
too.
having that honor.
Watch my show every night, Wednesday night. Watch my daily videos. I'm going to keep making
Good
fun
night,
of Crackamo.
everybody.
I'm going to 5 more weddings before I get to Florida, everybody.